Welcome to Indie Film Podcast. I'm Victoria.
And I am Chuck. For the month of November, we are thankful filmmakers.
And we couldn't be more thankful to all of the listeners joining us right now for the very last episode of Season 1 of Indie Film Podcast.
That's right. This will be our last full episode. We're going to post some reviews, which include film festival reviews and a film review in the month of December. And we will be back in January with more full podcast episodes.
So, Chuck, let's go out with everybody's favorite topic. And frankly, one that we actually haven't talked about that much on the entire first season.
Yeah?
Gear and tools that we're thankful for.
Yes, let's talk about some of the gear and tools that we're thankful for. The area I want to start is organization, and I'm going to start with a quote. When the world feels out of control, organize your sock drawer. What does that quote mean to you?
It means that I was right to buy all neon, obnoxiously colored socks.
Oh, okay. I just buy them all the same so that I never have to worry about matching them because that stresses me out. But either way, we both have our sock drawers organized, which makes filmmaking that much easier, I believe is what the quote's supposed to mean. Or, just apply it to whatever field you're in.
Oh, I guess I kind of thought it was more like if you can prove that you have control over this one little thing that's super close to you, then maybe the rest of the world isn't so scary.
Oh, see, to me, it's like a domino effect. So if you have your sock drawer organized, if you have your footage organized, if you have your process on set organized, it's going to clear up your head so that you can focus on the things that come at you in the moment rather than thinking about the stuff that you screwed up or the other things that are disheveled.
That is fair. When you get the chance to actually put everything, all your ducks in a row, if you will, then you have a little bit more headspace for the creativity and the fun parts.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So organizational tools that you've found throughout your years of filmmaking that you recommend people take a look into?
My favorite organizational tool is going to make me sound like a little old lady, and that's fine. I own that.
Okay.
I really love tangible binders and sheet protectors.
Nice. This is from your years of scrapbooking, is that?
Yes, my years and years of scrapbooking and knitting and darning socks on the subject of sock drawing.
Nice. So you started with scrapbooking, and you're like, I really like this. What's a very confusing form of media and art that I can get into that will allow me to use more binders and more spreadsheets? And you're like, well, clearly filmmaking, because there's a lot that goes into it.
Well, technically, I think it started more in college when I was running more full sets with more people and inevitably running behind on set because, of course, I was. And trying to figure out what we can cut to save some time as we go, and then getting to the editing room and realizing we're missing so much footage and so many shots and key plot points that just aren't there. So I started a new system. It's a binder. It's those cheap, crappy little sheet protectors and a bunch of the vis-a-vis wet erase markers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I just load up the script in there and I literally draw my coverage map so that I know what every single shot is starting at and ending at. And if we go a little before and a little after, that's totally fine. I don't have a problem with that. If that makes the actors get in the moment a little better, that's fine. But I need to know exactly what shots are covered or what pieces of the script are covered in each shot.
Yeah.
And then that way, if I'm running behind on set, I can just look at the coverage map and say, that's fine. We already have this other shot. I know we already caught this on camera. We can X this shot and it can go away. 86 it. Get it out of here.
That's good. And just I've seen you use this on set, and I think it's fantastic because, so let's say that you have 3 pages that you're shooting and you're covering it with 8 angles.
Yeah.
And the maximum you would have then is to cover the entire script with each angle. But what you do is you just draw, it's like a rainbow on the side of the script, which is really nice. And it's like, okay, shot 1 is blue, and we're gonna go through and cover this much with shot 1. We're gonna cover this much. And so you can see when it's overlapped. And then that way, if you're running behind schedule, you can start later in the script or start earlier, whatever the case may be. And you know that you do have that covered, and if there's something that's just a part of a oneer, you know that you need to get it.
Yeah.
And those are the most important shots.
Though to be fair, I try to make sure I never have anything that's only covered by one angle whenever possible.
Yeah.
Just because what if that shot doesn't work out? What if, especially if it's like a complicated oneer or something along those lines, or a super wide where there's no way in the world we're getting audio for it because there's no way a mic can be anywhere near them. You never know. Weird things come up on sets. Our listeners know this. They've had chaotic moments. So that's my number one organizational tool. Binders and sheet protectors. And then at the end of your shoot, you know, I'm cheap. We're indie filmmakers. You just get a damp like paper towel or whatever, wipe it down, let it dry, use it again. I've been using the same ones for about 10 years now.
Nice. They're just kind of like
they're tinted. A little foggy. Yeah. They're maybe not great, but that's okay.
You can use them as an ND filter if you need to in a pinch.
Little light diffusion.
Yeah, it works great. So you were talking about the wide shot, right? You're saying covering something if you have it just in a wide, making sure that you cover that dialogue in a close as well.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that a little bit because one of the organizational tools that I learned probably about 4 or 5 years ago doing audio on set, I was using a very inexpensive Tascam recorder that didn't allow me to quickly notate what shot and what scene and what take we were on.
The Tascam that everybody has and everybody has seen at some point in their lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so when I would go back and because I do my own post audio as well, so when I would go back and try to get audio from different takes, it was a lot of work. Because the camera setup, you wouldn't know where it is necessarily because the folders, I didn't want to manually organize it. So I would just go like, oh, okay, well, we were at this shot at about this time, so I can jump to whatever file. So anyway, the Zoom F6 was the first recorder that I ever bought that allows you to quickly maneuver between scenes and takes and shots. And as soon as I had that, it was so nice. That way I knew where I could pull a line from a different take if I needed to super quickly.
Because you know it's right there. You know exactly what scene this is. You know that audio, no, that's really nice. And that's not manually going in and renaming every single file, which don't worry, I've done.
Yeah.
And did it after sharing the footage with somebody else who was also going to be editing and then tried to send them the project file, which could immediately not link any of the footage because I had done the dumb thing and renamed the file as opposed to renaming it after importing it into Adobe. So now I do that instead.
Yeah, don't ever rename actual files.
Nope.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Don't.
It's going to make it a mess if you ever have to hand a project off. Good gravy.
So
That's a
another
nightmare.
Organizational tip. Don't rename your files as they exist. Rename maybe folders that they're in all at once and then share your footage or rename them just inside your editing software.
Nice. Do you have any other organizational tools you want to talk about or do you want to move on to the next topic?
I do because I don't want people thinking that I only use pen and paper for things.
Okay.
I do use digital tools too. And there are 2 digital tools that I really love. I love Studio Binder, which does have a free option. You can only work on one project at a time and it has some limited features on it. But it is a really nice way to just automate what scenes you're filming, certain locations, and you can import different people's schedules and it can help you build out shooting schedules and things. You can also write your script in there too and keep the formatting, which is nice, but it is really cool that it has those breakdowns and storyboarding. I also really love Google Forms as far as scheduling goes because all I have to do is create this form asking people to select their availability. When I get it back, you can convert it straight into a Google Sheet. And then that spreadsheet basically tells you when everybody's available. You just go through and sort it by who's available for what scenes you need. And then boom, you know exactly when you're filming what you're filming.
Yeah, that's nice.
Done.
I kind of want to point out right now, if there are indie filmmakers out there that are just getting started and they don't have any experience on a commercial set, this is important for them to consider because when I started making movies with just my brother and I, then we didn't need to necessarily have all of these organizational methods in place because he and I were doing everything ourselves.
Which is a gift and a curse.
Yeah, and so we didn't need to learn these things. And then as soon as we added somebody else running camera and then we got on bigger sets and we started to pass projects back and forth between the two of us in post, it multiplied our issues. Like our sock drawer exploded in our faces, and it took a lot of breaking of bad habits to make sure that we are conversing about shot lists together and making sure that projects are organized and we can easily move them back and forth between myself for audio and then Danny, our cinematographer, for color grading in post. And it was really messy at first. So, and if you're shooting short films and then you go into a feature film, it's like an exponential increase for some reason.
Yeah.
You would assume that, oh, okay, well, it's a 90-minute feature. That would be like 9-10-minute short films. No,
so it'll be
it doesn't
9
work.
times as hard.
No, it's not. For some reason, it's way more complicated
No, it's
than
closer
that.
to 90.
Yeah, because
it's more difficult.
Timelines and things get convoluted, and then if you go to make changes, there's like a domino effect. So,
though, to your point there, for anyone that is getting started and you don't have any of these organizational tools and you would like them, you can subscribe to the Indie Film Podcast newsletter and you will get our shot list template for free and our budget template for free. It's all the same stuff that we already use, and you can just copy those and start using those.
Yeah.
Get ahead of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's free. Also, like and subscribe to these videos. We never ask people to do that.
Yeah, we haven't been doing that.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you listen to this on Spotify.
Wait, can I say it's the last episode of the season? Can I say it?
Yeah.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash it.
Sorry, I needed that. Okay. Anyway, so are there any other organizational tools that you wanted to cover?
No, I'm good on that. I kind of want to talk about some equipment that punches above the weight, the cheap stuff, the very inexpensive tools that we've picked up throughout the year.
Yes.
And I want to give a shout out to Lumix/Panasonic, because that company was the reason I learned how to actually operate a camera. I bought a GX85 for $500. This would have been in like 2018. I think I wrote it down. 2018. And right now, I think the used bodies sell for $500, just the body without the lenses. Yeah. And if you are just getting started and maybe you're using your phone, obviously there's a lot of good options out there with like the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, but these inexpensive point and shoot mirrorless cameras are super handy because they do teach you how to use the manual adjustments. You can obviously like get into like some vlog or some log type footage with them. And that GX85, there was a way to hack into it to get like the Panasonic Cinema D, that if you go online, you have to be careful because you can like brick the camera. But mine was okay, which was kind of nice. So it like gave me more dynamic range, and I could see instantly. It was crazy. I could see instantly when we were shooting in this environment. We did live music videos, and the backdrop, which if anybody's watching this on YouTube or watching it on Spotify, we're just sitting in front of a bunch of black sound foam. And you can imagine, like, with the dynamic range limited on a camera that's a little bit less expensive, then, the highlights start to blow out, and then this is just like deep black.
It's
right?
just black. And suddenly my always black shirts and plaid stuff starts just kind of fading into the background a little bit.
Yeah. And then you get something that has like a more log type profile. It's kind of like, wow, oh, okay. You can actually see that. You can see the difference in the dynamic range. So those little point and shoot cameras, I love them, which the GX85, I think, has it's definitely an exchangeable or interchangeable lens system on that one. But it was really nice to learn that.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of perfect then, because it's not so much, it's not a budgetary or price point barrier exactly, but it still gives you the flexibility of being able to get an idea and a feel for what types of shots you actually like getting, what style of lenses you're really after.
Yeah.
And gives you, it's almost like having kind of training wheels.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's still perfectly good footage.
Yeah. And if you're just getting started, like even a Canon Rebel, something like that.
I always tell people to get a Canon Rebel, especially if they're going into photography for the first time.
Yeah.
But actually, I guess, obligatory shout out to Nikon for making me fall in love with Canons. I don't know if I should say that.
Nice.
But I do love Canons, and I shoot on them and have shot on them for years and years and years, all the way back to like my Canon Vixia Mini DV camcorder, I think. I've been a fan of Canon for a very long time. And it was just, I don't even remember what it was at this point, but there was something about Nikon that was so off-putting to me that I went with Canon, and I've been a Canon girly ever since.
Right on. Well, what other cheap tools do you have for people that you can recommend that they take a look at?
I have, it's not a specific one. It's a way to get them. It's used lenses.
Yes.
The glass doesn't lose quality because somebody else used it.
No.
As a matter of fact, sometimes you can go to pawn shops especially and get some nice vintage lenses that actually give you cool. I mean, you and lower gentry studios as a whole have an old school Konica that you shoot on a lot, right?
Beautiful. It's like it's a weird size too. It's like it's a 57.5.
Oh
millimeter.
Yeah, that very everybody uses that.
Yeah, and it's like an f1.4, and when I would go around shooting on that one, because I got an adapter to be able to plug it into that little tiny Lumix that I had, and it taught me how to get the focus correct. Because when you're shooting at that shallow of a depth of field,
you notice
you're gonna see, and I'd be getting shots, and I'm like, I thought I had that, and I would notice that I thought I had it on someone's eye, but it would just be like slightly behind, and the focus would be on their ear, But it's one of those things, and it's got a manual adjustment, which I love. And some of some of the newer ones, they don't have the adjustment for like the feet. I mean, if you get a cinema lens, obviously that'll be fine.
Yeah.
But you can get some of those old photography lenses, and it'll be like, oh, this is in focus at whatever, 8 feet away.
Exactly.
And it's I don't know what's that's called, like a fixed focus. Somebody tell me in the comments.
Don't worry, they will.
Oh, yes, thank you. But it's good to have that practice, and you can do it really inexpensively.
Yeah.
If you just get an adapter, which they make.
They do.
I found a Konica adapter to a Micro Four Thirds. No big deal.
There you go.
It wasn't speed boosted or anything like that. It didn't have any lenses in between it, but it just allowed me to just plug it right onto the camera, and I got to practice,
And then you get some cool, nice touches from a vintage lens that you otherwise wouldn't. Actually, we've mentioned him constantly on this show, so we're going to mention him again. Cody Newton here in Boise. He has a set of vintage lenses that he'll lend out to people as needed or rent out to people as needed. And man, it's a world of difference filming on those. They're just beautiful. There's something about that vintage style and look, and it's not perfect for everything. But you know what? Swing by your local pawn shop, find some stuff there. Alternatively, another option I really like are the online rental places.
Oh, yeah.
And none of them sponsor us yet. So I'm not going to say any names. Actually, I'm just not going to say the names because I don't remember, but it's something super easy, like borrow lenses, rent lenses, something like that. And that gives you the option to not only kind of try new gear really inexpensively.
Yeah.
So if there is a lens you're considering, you can get that just shipped straight to you. But you also have the option in their used inventory. And yeah, some of that's a little bit more beat up than what you might see at a pawn shop sometimes, just because it's been rented a lot. But I mean, they sell them there for maybe half the price of what you'd pay.
Yeah.
If you were trying to buy it new, or in some cases, even less than half the price.
Yeah.
And it still works. It's still fine. It might not look as pretty. The lens cap might be a different color. That happens. And you know what? That just makes your gear look more unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's character building.
If you can get a good deal on a lens, take it, because you can always unload it for the price that you bought it. Sometimes even more if you sit on them for a while.
Yeah. Those vintage lenses are probably only going to go up and up.
Can I talk microphone?
Yeah.
So
you should. I shouldn't.
The Chit Chat web series, which I talked about previously on this podcast, and then Stockton to Table Rock feature film, I used a $150 Audio Technica AT875R shotgun microphone. I didn't use it as my primary microphone, but I did use it as like a backup. And for $100, well, I think they're like $200 now, but I got it on a sale. For a shotgun microphone, it's small, it's portable, and it sounds surprisingly good for $150. And the thing is if you're doing your own audio post-production, a lot of times you can get into the equalizer and mess around with the settings to get it to sound how you want it to sound, or add compression to get it to sound like it's a little bit closer than it would have been otherwise. But it's a really clean microphone for $150, and I keep it in my sound bag to this day, and I'll grab it, every once in a while if I need something that's if it's not like key, like if somebody's talking off screen and I want to set something up real quick, I might just point that like closer to them. Yeah. And then that way, if we're doing a 2-shot and the other person's off screen, I can get their audio clean that way. So
what you're saying is, at $150, this microphone has still proven itself useful enough that despite having more, I don't know if better microphones, but despite having
way more expensive than that,
more expensive microphones now, you still hang on to that one because it does come in handy and you can trust it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
And if you're just getting going and you're doing location sound, or you need a camera and you're using you need a microphone and you're using a Blackmagic Pocket 4K, you can just XLR that thing right into the XLR input on the Pocket and
nice.
get some good on-camera audio that way.
That's helpful.
Yeah. What else you got for cheap?
I have hair ties.
Ooh, hair ties.
And I know that's ridiculous, but they come in handy so often, and not just because you want to pull your hair back, which, depending on the length of your hair, may or may not be important for you. But they're great. They're so practical. You can go to the dollar store and buy a pack of 500.
Yeah.
But they come in handy for so much stuff. If you're trying to smooth out motion on a tripod shot, you wrap the hair tie around it and you just pull the hair tie slowly, so that way it kind of, even if you have a cheaper tripod, it sort of softens some of that motion. You don't get as much jerking happening because it's got the extra kind of bounce and stretch to it. You need to wrap up a bunch of cables. You need to strap stuff to things. I've used hair ties to attach cameras to very makeshift stabilizers before. Would I recommend that for most people? No, because that's very not safe and you might break your camera. But I needed the shot and it was a risk I was willing to take.
There we go.
And that hair tie held up.
Nice.
So, and I don't mean the fancy scrunchy ones that are like the big puff. I'm just talking the little black. I should have just had one on my wrist right now.
Yeah.
And just to exemplify that point, that would have been
Unless
really cool.
they're listening only.
Yes, then that wouldn't have helped
If you
anyway.
don't know what a black hair tie is, then God help you.
No, then good for you. That means you take really good care of your hair and you've never needed to suffer through any of the damage or breakage that I'm sure they cause. But
Okay. Well, I guess I don't know enough about hair then.
Honestly,
I know what those black hair ties are.
Yeah, they are.
Or you could just use rubber bands.
Rubber bands also work, but I like the hair ties because you can just throw them on your wrist and stuff without it like irritating your skin or anything, or without being a little bit too tight. They are wrapped in fabric, so
they're a little softer.
They're a little bit.
Very cool. I want to also point out audio again. Cheap tools for people that are working in post. Make sure that you have a decent set of studio monitors, speakers, or headphones, and they're not super expensive. Yamaha makes a set of like 4.5-inch speakers that I use that I think sound great. They're very flat, and by that I mean they don't have a lot of EQ spikes built into the speakers, whereas if you use like a set of Skull Candy headphones,
I feel very attacked right now.
Yeah, like I don't know if anyone's wearing any of those here in this studio, but a lot of times those are EQ'd up so that the bass kind of punches through.
I want my music to make my heart beat.
Yes, that's good. But the thing is you want to be able to hear it flat so that you don't want any coloration on it. Just like you wouldn't want to color grade your footage on a cheap monitor, or you wouldn't want to color grade your footage on a monitor that's set to like some weird cinematic setting.
Who even knows what settings they come with nowadays? The vivid setting.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, high contrast or too low contrast or whatever. You want it to be as accurate as possible on your monitor when you're color grading. You want your speakers or your headphones to be as accurate as possible when you're mixing audio levels, because it'll get janky real quick when you go into the theater if you don't know what's coming out of your system. You might have some really low frequencies that just pop out of that theatrical subwoofer randomly, which it has. I mean, that has happened to me. I had to fix that. On Stockton to Table Rock the first time we heard it at a theater that had a massive subwoofer. Like some of the low end sound on the score track was just shaking the walls.
Whoa!
But I didn't have but the issue was that I didn't have the monitoring to where I noticed that low end, because it was very low, that low end was at that high of a level. So you can check it with like visual monitors as well, but you just want to be able to know that it exists. And so that's why it's good to have like a subwoofer as well as studio monitors or headphones that'll go very low frequency. And that's not that expensive.
No, but it can make a huge difference in your final product. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Any other cheap gear that punches above its weight?
I think that's pretty good for me.
Okay, so should we go to the things that punch at their weight and they might be expensive, but they are worth every penny?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
I just got the classic Sennheiser MKH 416 boom mic. That thing is wonderful. I love that shotgun microphone, and they're kind of spendy, but I would not exchange it for anything.
I will say though, there are some shops that will sell those at a pretty discounted rate if they're used as well.
Yeah.
And usually, because I don't know what I would call the reuseum here in town, because it's not really a pawn shop.
Okay.
But it's like a refurbished goods kind of shop.
Okay.
And they've had some Sennheisers in there before.
Nice.
That are definitely a steal at the price. So
I wouldn't worry about buying one of those used. I honestly feel like if somebody were to attack me and I had that Sennheiser boom mic, I could just ward them off.
Just beat them upside the head with it.
If they came at me with like a sword, I could deflect it with that thing. It's pretty sturdy. So
that's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got?
I have the Ronin DJI, the gimbal stabilizer combo.
Nice.
I've bought 2 of them now. I upgraded to the RS4, I think. But they're incredible. They're my go-to run and gun whenever I need something that I can be mobile, I can handle quickly, especially for commercial gigs. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of us out here have to be able to basically do an entire shoot on our own.
Yeah. So I don't have somebody that's going to be there pulling focus. I will say that I have the little focus wheel attachment as an option too. But I also really enjoy Canon's autofocus capabilities.
Yeah,
I know it's not perfect, but it is pretty dang good.
If you got a Canon or a Sony, you can probably just slam that onto the gimbal and you're good to go.
It's really nice. It's
Awesome.
Practical. How about you?
Other stuff? No, I mean, I don't have anything that's like super important there as far as expensive gear. The issue is that I was a teacher for years.
Yeah.
And so the summer times is when I made films. And with a teaching salary, I could never really afford to buy the stuff that was quote unquote nice. I just remember when the Pocket 4K, the Blackmagic Pocket 4K came out, that was nice.
Yeah.
Because it was affordable. And then we were hitting an upper limit on image quality. And as soon as I played back what I could record with that, I was like, okay.
This is what we were missing.
Now I understand why raw footage exists. Now I understand why people pay a little bit more. And then, being able to work on set with Danny and his red cam, it's like, okay, this is
a whole other level. This is not at all comparable to what I've been doing.
I understand. But you can get by and do a lot of things if you know the basics of lighting and framing.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with some very inexpensive gear.
Yeah, which we'll be showcasing in an upcoming series for next season without giving too much away.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. There are exciting, new, hopefully entertaining things on the horizon on that front.
Yes.
Which will be good.
Absolutely.
And you'll get to tell us all the things that you want us to test out. And we'll get to try to do it as inexpensively as possible.
Yeah.
Because we're indie filmmakers. I will do one last expensive one. And I know, all things considered, it's not the most expensive, but especially for like a college student, when I bought my first Manfrotto tripod.
Yeah.
That was a game changer. Like the fluid head and just having something that's sturdy enough, but still compact. Manfrotto tripods, I'm just such a huge fan of. I'm sure that there are some people who say that they're the worst, but you know what? They're amazing. They're great, and their fluid head system is absolutely just unstoppable.
We talked about that before too. A tripod is always
worth the investment.
The money.
It just
because if you get a good one, it's going to last a long time, and if you get a cheap one, it's going to start to fall apart.
And you're talking about being able to fend people off with your microphone. Well, hey, driving home alone from a shoot and it's dark outside, if I want to take somebody down, Manfrotto tripod, that's going to pack a wallop.
Yeah. Actually, a carbon fiber boom pole would help you out a lot because it's real light.
Just get a lot of velocity on that swing.
Yeah, you can. Or, just the heavy end of a C-stand.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk post-production tools before we wrap things up?
I do, because I've got a couple little things that I really like. And I'm going to say, hands down, especially if you're starting to do commercial gigs, my absolute favorite that I hear nobody ever talk about is Mr. Horse.
Mr. Horse?
Mr. Horse is a plugin for Adobe. I think they have a plugin for Resolve now too, actually.
Okay.
I don't know.
What does it do?
It's all sorts of transitions and text effects and really simple, straightforward, but clean and kind of interesting looking transitions, like fast wipes and all sorts of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily use all the time, but for certain commercial moments, it works really well, and it comes with sound effects for some of them, but you can also leave it off, and it's completely free.
So this is really helpful for those people that are just a one-person show running around with their DJI Ronin, getting footage, random insert shots, and then they're trying to put a commercial together to pay their bills for
or pay
mom
off
and dad's cake shop or whatever.
Exactly.
And
or
you can add a little bit of extra flair with Mr. Horse.
Yeah, it's Mr. Horse. It's one of the greatest. I think it's Mr. Horse Composer or something like that, technically. But just Google Mr. Horse, and it's or you'll get something from what was it, the Ed Sullivan Show?
Oh, nice.
Anyway, what about you?
The thing that I've used most for post-production that was a recent discovery was Isotope RX, because I used to clean up my own dialogue manually all the time.
Yeah.
And so anyone out there that's doing a run and gun setup and you need to use, whatever lav microphones that are inexpensive that record internally and then mix that with whatever camera audio that you're grabbing, the nice thing about the Isotope is that you can preview it live as long as your computer is fast enough, because it uses a lot of processing power especially if you're doing multiple tracks of like dialogue cleanup. Yeah. But what it is, it allows you to like decrease the reverb and decrease the ambient noise in just little sliders. And so you can kind of see what it sounds like and how much of the ambience you want to remove until it sounds unnatural. Because a lot of times the AI tools, because I've messed with the Premiere one and the DaVinci one as well. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't sound quite as natural to me yet, especially Adobe's. I don't know what the heck they do, but they do some really weird processing with their AI audio cleanup.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't trust that much at all.
To be fair, DaVinci's early editions were pretty rough.
True.
They were very rough.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to continue to get better. So you may not need to dump any money for Isotope, but the nice thing is it's not, it doesn't burn it into the file, which I guess neither do the AI tools. But it's a good way to just kind of like lower the ambience without getting rid of all of it.
Which is nice because when there's absolutely no ambient sound whatsoever, then it just makes everything sound ADR and off.
Very unnatural. Yeah, very unnatural.
Weird. It's
a bad
uncomfortable.
way to do it.
Unless you're going for that uncanny valley, but for audio type feeling.
Yeah, which most people aren't on the indie film stuff.
No, they're not.
So what do you got for some post-production tools that you're thankful for?
I also really like Motion Array. And I know that that's, of all the stock options that are out there, Motion Array is a graphics house. They've got stock footage, stock audio, a bunch of graphic templates. It's mainly the graphic templates that I like them for. Their stock footage and audio stuff is fine, but they have so many MoGRT files and different templates for every single editing suite. And it's all really user-friendly. All the creators put a lot of time and effort into creating these tutorials that go along with them. Yeah. And it's just really, really nice to have. And it's $15 to $25 a month.
Oh, okay.
So it's not, but just depending on what plan you choose.
Okay.
It's not over the top. It's not terrible. And you can go month to month and cancel whenever. So if you just have one big project coming up and it's unlimited files and things.
Oh, nice.
So I like Motion Array. I say kudos to them.
That's really solid.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about post-production, and I talked about studio monitoring for audio earlier, like the sound foam and the rock wool, which you can't see the rock wool, but I have this studio covered in, it's just an inexpensive type of insulation that I built around or inside of boards myself. And they're just kind of like scattered about the studio here. Yeah. And it makes it sound really dead, which is very important when I'm monitoring audio for film stuff, which a lot of times if I go on the Reddits where people are talking about like post-sound mixing or the videography stuff, a lot of times people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, just use this cleanup, use this cleanup. It sounds very simple, which is fine if you're making content that people are going to ingest on their phone or maybe YouTube. But if you're making a film and you want to send it off to film festivals and they're going to be screening it in actual
theaters,
decent quality theaters with decent sound systems, you might want to get an environment where it's deadened when you're listening to your audio. If you can't afford to hire somebody to do your post audio, you'll want to make sure that you find a space to where you can listen to it and really listen in close so that you can hear any of the hiccups that are happening. You want to be able to crank it up loud and not have like those echoes washing that stuff up. Like if it's a janky audio blip between cuts, you might not notice it if you can't turn up the speaker loud enough, or if you have too much reverb going around in the place that you're listening.
So would an alternative to that be noise canceling headphones, or is that kind of a no-go? That won't actually be helpful?
I would not use noise canceling headphones because the way that noise canceling headphones work is just like physics. So they have microphones on the outside of them usually. And what the microphones are doing is they're picking up the ambient noise, and then it's playing it. It's mixing that into your headphones, but inversing the phase so it cancels it out. Is how that works. So if you've ever taken noise canceling headphones, especially the bigger ones where you can actually see the microphones, if you take them and it's like outside on a windy day, it'll start doing all sorts of weird, like making weird noises inside of your headphones, and
that would be fun.
It makes you a little dizzy. So
that's fair. Yeah, that would mess with your equilibrium quite a bit.
Noise canceling headphones are great for when you're on an airplane, but I would not touch those things if I'm doing audio mixing, personally.
Okay.
So
I figured I would ask.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
But yeah. So
okay.
Anything else that you want to add as far as tools that you're thankful for?
Well, probably you. Not because you are a tool.
But great introduction. I appreciate that.
But thank you, Chuck, for always doing so much of the post-production for this very podcast.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for doing the marketing. This has been one hell of a first season.
Yeah.
And like we said, there's going to be a few short episodes. We reviewed the She/Her Film Festival, the Portland Under the Stars Film Festival, the Chicago Horror Film Festival, and we have a review of the Indie Film Wormtown. Those will all be coming out. Hopefully, we'll get them all out in December. We'll post them to the normal channels, but they'll be little short videos. And so hopefully you like those. And if you have some things that you want to have reviewed, feel free to send it in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy the end of the year. And we'll see y'all in January.
Yes. I mean, is that a succinct farewell?
Oh, it was. For once, I did a succinct farewell.
Excellent. Well, goodbye.
Bye.